Clara Mitchell, 29, an aspiring fashion designer living alone in a modest apartment in West Hollywood. Known by friends as quiet, hardworking, and ambitious. She had recently broken up with her boyfriend of 2 years, and neighbors noticed she had become more withdrawn. One neighbor claimed they saw Clara standing at her window around 2:45 a.m., but forensics suggested she was already dead by then. Was the neighbor mistaken? Or did the killer stage her body by the window to confuse the timeline? Clara worked late nights, often returning home after midnight, leaving her vulnerable. On March 12, 2012, Clara's coworker reported her missing after she failed to show up at work. Police performed a wellness check at her apartment. The door was unlocked, and inside, silence. Detectives found Clara's lifeless body in the living room. There was no forced entry. No sign of robbery. The scene looked disturbingly staged. A half-finished cup of coffee on the table. A chair pulled slightly back, as though she had been interrupted. Clara was found lying on the floor, positioned unnaturally, suggesting she had been placed there. No blood spatter, but ligature marks were visible around her wrists. The television was on, playing softly in the background. On the kitchen counter, investigators found a single red rose in a glass vase. Fresh and recently placed as detail, immediately suggested the killer wanted to leave a message. Detectives interviewed neighbors. One reported hearing faint footsteps around 3 a.m. Another claimed they saw a man leaving the building in a dark hoodie. Clara's ex-boyfriend became the first suspect. He admitted they had fought days before her death, but he had an alibi confirmed by security footage at his workplace. Forensics pulled fingerprints from the rose vase. Surprisingly, they belonged to an unknown male not in the criminal database. Phone records revealed Clara had received multiple late-night calls from an unidentified prepaid number. The last call came less than an hour before her estimated time of death. A rejected admirer. The rose symbolized obsession. Perhaps someone Clara knew secretly. The stalker. Co-workers mentioned Clara had complained about a man lingering near her workplace weeks before. Random intruder or serial offender. The staged crime scene suggested ritualistic behavior, often linked to serial cases. Detectives began searching other unsolved cases with similar signature details. A flower left behind. Despite months of investigation, no arrests were made. The unknown fingerprints and prepaid phone calls left police chasing shadows. Clara's case eventually went cold, boxed away with dozens of other unsolved files in Los Angeles. But for those who worked the scene, the image of that single rose in a quiet apartment still lingers. Let me enlighten you more on this case. Clara was last seen leaving her fashion studio around 11:45 p.m. Security cameras captured her entering her apartment building, alone. She carried a takeout bag and appeared tired but calm. What happened between that moment and her death remains a central mystery. Detectives found no forced entry, meaning Clara either knew her killer or was caught off guard. The living room appeared neat, but subtle details stood out. A chair slightly pulled out, as if someone had been sitting across from her, a half-finished cup of coffee, still warm when police arrived, suggesting the killer had been there recently. The single red rose, fresh, upright in a glass vase, placed deliberately in the center of the counter. Forensic techs noted that the rose had been trimmed carefully, its thorns removed, a sign of premeditation. Clara's phone revealed late-night calls from a prepaid number. She had answered twice in the past week, both calls lasting under a minute. The last call, around 2:50 a.m., when unanswered. Detectives believe the killer may have been luring her with these calls. The ex-boyfriend. He was bitter about their breakup, but security footage cleared him. Still, detectives wondered if he'd hired someone else. The neighbor, a man in his 40s who lived across the hall. He admitted he had a crush on Clara. His fingerprints were in the building, but not on the vase. The stranger, Witnesses recalled a hooded figure entering the building late at night. Security cameras mysteriously failed during that time, leading to theories of tampering. The rose became the most disturbing symbol. Detectives discovered an unsolved case from 5 years earlier in another city, where a woman was found dead in her apartment, with a rose left at the scene. Both roses came from the same rare florist chain, found only in certain regions. Was this a serial killer resurfacing after years? Under ultraviolet light, investigators found faint writing on Clara's bathroom mirror, smeared in what appeared to be lipstick. The message read, "She said no." Who was she? Was this Clara's desperate attempt to leave a clue, or the killer's way of taunting investigators? Despite fingerprint searches, DNA testing, and hundreds of interviews, no suspect was ever charged. The prepaid phone was purchased with cash, untraceable. The Rose connection was chilling, but inconclusive. Clara's murder eventually joined a growing pile of unsolved cases. Some crime scenes whisper clues, others remain silent. In Clara Mitchell's apartment, the silence spoke louder than words. And somewhere out there, her killer still walks free. This is what lies behind the yellow